Hey there everyone, welcome to this video. Today we're going to be discussing Venus and Mercury in Gemini. So it's a bit of a feature signature of the month of May, so I just wanted to dive into that a little bit for you today. Before I do that though, I really just want to take a moment and welcome and thank all the new subscribers who have come to my channel here in the last week or so. So no doubt that has been due to my recent Jupiter and Pisces video that I shared last week. If you haven't seen that, I'll just pop a little thing up the top of the screen there where you can access that video. It goes through Jupiter through all the 12 houses, so it'll be really helpful for you to explore that and what this transit that starts just in a couple of days' time might mean for you. If you would like to explore Jupiter a little bit more in depth, next week I am hosting a webinar, May 19 in the USA and Northern time zones, and it will be Thursday afternoon, May 20 here in Australia. So I will put all the details in the description below and I hope to see you there. I also have another offering that's available re-Jupiter, and that's on my website. So if you go to cassandratyndall.com, a pop-up will come up on the screen inviting you to join my mailing list. So when you do that, you will get direct access to an article that I wrote, maybe like 3 years ago now, anticipating Jupiter's entrance into Sagittarius. And I dive a little bit into the astronomy of Jupiter, the astrology of Jupiter, of course, and a little bit of a description of each of the 12 signs as Jupiter tours. So you'll get to learn a little bit more about your personal natal placement of Jupiter there too. But in this video, I'm going to focus on Mercury and Venus. So Mercury in Gemini, Mercury first moved into Gemini last week, May 3 and 4, and it's going to stay there till July 14, July 12. And this extra long cycle is due to a retrograde phase that starts at the end of this month. So we're looking at about May 28, 29 for that cycle to start. We're just on the eve of a new moon in Taurus. So that will happen at 21 Taurus. I'll just give you the dates and details for that in case you're not sure. So New York, so Northern Hemisphere, New York, so we're talking Eastern time zone, May 11, 2:59 p.m. London time zone, again, May 11, 7:59 p.m. If you're here in Australia or New Zealand or the more southern parts of the globe, it's May 12 at 4:59 a.m. So that's the new moon in Taurus, and its ruler Venus has just moved into Gemini. So she is sort of the key feature of this particular lunar cycle. So this month she is touring the house of Gemini, and so they're together with the North Node. And next month on June 10, we have a solar eclipse in Gemini. So this part of your chart, whatever house topics are ruled by the sign of Gemini in your birth chart are being really sort of activated or triggered at the moment. And so what I mean by that is the activity of planets are really kind of energizing or activating this particular area of your life. And in addition to that, Mercury stations, as I said, 28, 29 at 24 degrees of Gemini. So later this month, it'll slow right down and it will station retrograde. And that happens at the 24th degree. Last year, Venus stationed at 21 Gemini. That happened in May. And next year in October, Mars stations at 25 Gemini, and that'll continue until January 2023. So point being is if you've got a planet or a point, let's say 20 to 26 of Gemini, this month does, and into June as well, does really signify perhaps the second installment of a 3-part Gemini series for you. So I sort of share this video with the intention of bringing to your awareness your Gemini house, reflect on the topics of last year, what's happening this year, and then of course next year as well. So Mercury in Gemini. So Mercury loves to be in Gemini. It's one of the signs that it rules, the other one being Virgo. And so even though Venus doesn't have any dignity in the sign of Gemini, so she moved from Taurus, where she was exceptionally well placed, to Gemini, where she has like a dignity downgrade, if you like. So, on a very logical Mercury standpoint, we as astrologers, we have to kind of go, okay, well, this planet can do really great things in this sign, whereas in these signs, the planet might have a little bit of additional help or hindrance. And so with Gemini, Venus in Gemini is exceptionally social. Venus wants to bind and bring together. She's accommodating, and she's has a magnifying quality together. She's supportive and affirmative. And in Gemini, she's attempting to do those Venusian qualities through Geminian or Mercurial pursuits. And so this might be through writing or speech or being exceptionally social. So it's almost like Venus is highly caffeinated or drunk a few Red Bulls, and she's going out there and talking to all the people or socializing and chatting. So while she doesn't have any added, extra strength or qualities in the sign, there are two things I'm just going to bring to your attention. So firstly, she's co-present with her ruler. So she's got strength by association through this transit. And because of the rare sort of sign or the event that's happening this month, Mercury is slowing down to retrograde, but Venus is moving at her regular pace. And so she is actually going to be on the approach to Mercury. So she's not only co-present with the ruler, but getting closer to it. So this tells me that she's going to be in a position to maybe help some Mercury issues run a little more smoothly, or run with more, just a little bit of, a Venusian touch, or a little bit more softness, or a little bit more gloss on the top, if you like. And we'll dive into that a little bit in a moment. So we've got that component there, where this could be very helpful too with the Mercury station. Something might go awry, but Venus has the capacity to broker a deal or smooth things out. Now, another thing with Venus is she has a little bit of extra special dignity when she's traveling through the degrees of 12 and 16 of Gemini. So I'm just going to get the dates of that for you and just grab my ephemeris, and we'll look that up. So Venus in Gemini. So we're looking at around May sort of 18, 19 through till about the 23rd. Okay, so that's where Venus is going to have a little bit of extra potency as she moves through those degrees. So those degrees are referred to as the terms and bounds, Egyptian terms, or also known as bounds. And if you're curious about those and would like to learn more, I do have a webinar on my website about all of that too. So Mercury in Gemini is data and the details, just the sheer facts without any sort of, it is what it is. Like in science, data is just data. It's the meaning that we apply to things that, can change it. But the data in of itself never changes. It doesn't change. It is what it is. So sometimes with Mercury, I think it's important to remember it's the messenger, not the message. So with Venus, it's not even about the truth, but maybe more so what feels good or what presents or paints a more likable picture. So this can be a really helpful transit if you have to deliver details or facts to somebody, but you need to present it in a way that might be more palatable or be more well received. So one instance of this is, I know like in HR or management and things like that, they talk about the sandwich technique. So if you have to give somebody some, let's say, constructive criticism, and in order for it to be taken well, they'll often sandwich it with saying something really great about the person or what their skills and talents are, then what the issue is or what the facts are, and then sandwich it with another positive reinforcement. So this is a really great transit to sort of practice some of those concepts. So if you have to tell somebody something that you're a bit afraid of the reaction, or you're a bit nervous about how it's going to be received on the other end, you can add a little gloss to it or a little bit of Venusian sugar, and that might help matters a little bit. So that can be really helpful if you have to deliver news that you'd rather not give, or it's almost like adding a little bit of a bedside manner. So you can go to a doctor and they just are very matter of fact about the situation and you leave feeling not so great. Or you could go see another doctor and they just have a wonderful way of communicating that gives you the facts in a very logical way, but they do it in a way that is got a heightened pleasantness or a warming or a little bit more of an accommodating or welcoming way about it. And so that's very Mercury Venus. So it's going to be a helpful transit, for example, if you need to sign contracts and make a deal, make significant purchases over the next sort of month or so. So oftentimes you'll hear with Mercury retrograde, it's not a great time to make purchases, or it's not a great time to do X, Y, Z. But with Venus in the mix, it could really change that. So let's just say, for instance, you've got to replace some IT and you would rather wait for Mercury to not be retrograde anymore. But with Venus in the mix and applying and conjoining Mercury on the station, it might mean, okay, well, this isn't the ideal scenario, but if I go and make some negotiations, or I might be offered a better deal than what I would have been otherwise. So maybe some added extras or a bonus, if you like. I had a situation similar to this many moons ago now, about 6 years, when I bought a brand new car. And I was sort of lucky because I had a bit of, a backdoor into the deal because I knew somebody in the finance department with this particular dealership. But it was such a lovely experience because, let's face it, buying a new car is a little bit daunting, and all the bullshit that they kind of make you go through. I just want a car, I like it, I'll buy it, and but it was such a pleasant experience. They laid out all the contracts for me, and this is all the specifications, and this is the service agreement, and this is what you'll pay, and the scheduled servicings to keep your warranty and stuff like that. And there was cappuccino, and there was a beautiful biscuits, and my son was still, just a baby at the time, just walking. And there was a lady to take care of him. So the whole process, which is kind of daunting to buy a car, it was really quite pleasant. And I got all these added extras, all the accessories and bits and pieces that you have with cars. And I got a fantastic fleet deal because of the connection that I had. So don't let this transit daunt you if you do have to buy some technology or do something with your car, for example. So when I see Mercury and Venus together in a natal chart, keep in mind that Mercury and Venus can only, there's only two aspects that they can form. One is a conjunction, which we'll have this month, and the other is the sextile. So that's the nature of the cyanotic cycles of Mercury and Venus. They don't get any further apart than a sextile. And so when I see this show up by a transit or in a natal chart, I really do see this show up quite universally as a particular archetype. And so these people will generally have a real pleasant way of speaking, very conversational, exceptionally well-mannered. There's something about the way that they communicate is really pleasant. It's kind of Moorish. It has just the words can land really nicely. And of course, there's situations where this is a real plus. And then there's situations where this can be a negative too. So if you are one of those people, be really curious to get your comments. Sometimes what you'll experience is that these people often, through their politeness and their great manners, often get mistaken for being flirty, and they might get interest from other people that they're not intentionally trying to attract. So this can be a little bit confusing for people if you're on, you know, the receiving end of these pleasant words and good manners. And then the flip side of that is too, you know, sometimes those people who have exceptional manners or a real great way with words, you know, can not always be sort of totally like transparent about things. There's this kind of element to it where the conversation can be so free flowing. It can be just a real enjoyable banter, but it's dinner table conversation. It's not real talk. And so this can be great in the early days of a flirtationship, but sometimes not so great if you know you need to go to the next level or have conversations about, you know, where to from here, or you know, the real talk stuff that's happened in a relationship. So this can be a really great transit too if you do need to iron out some miscommunications or smooth out snafus that might happen as Mercury prepares to station as we get closer to the end of the month. So agreements and compromises can be more possible. The opportunity to extend the olive branch. You know, Venus is going to make those words, or if you have to take back your words or go over conversations, they might be more receptive or well received by others. You know, this is a great transit for social commentary, you know, the observance of what's happening at the social level, particularly as we, you know, of course it's location dependent, but what's happening in the COVID situation. So, you know, navigating social environments and social situations. So it can be, just looking at my notes here, just to make sure I cover, you know, the majority of what I wanted to talk to you about. You know, this can be a really great time for, you know, the things that we would normally avoid, deals, contracts, agreements. Can also be a really good time to get on board with people who might have similar ideas or similar thoughts. And that sort of idea of teamwork and collaboration is really possible too. Sometimes you can see gossip, scandal, small talk can lead to that sort of stuff as opposed to real talk. So do be mindful of the overshare of people that are saying things to you that, like, why are you sharing that with me? I'm not the person you need to be telling this to. So do be mindful of that. Saying that somebody I knew many moons ago would say, those who talk to you will talk about you. So that sometimes can be very true when Mercury and Venus get close. So just do be aware of the idle gossip or random conversations, or that the oversharer, if you like. So we might see celebrity gossip, scandals, those type of things become a little bit more prominent too. So I guess in closing, you know, don't allow this sort of upcoming Mercury retrograde to stop you in your tracks too much, because I think Venus in the mix can really help smooth out any confusion, miscommunication, or delays. But it might also be up to you to kind of push the envelope a little bit, because Venus does definitely have a way of getting what she wants, and it might be using your words in order to do that. So I hope this video has been a little bit helpful for you in terms of working through this Venus-Mercury cycle, and also highlighting the house topics of Gemini in your birth chart. So until next time, I wish you a very happy new moon and happy Jupiter in Pisces. All right, I'll see you all soon.